Yeah, I've just been kind of exhausted from like making so many YouTube videos for my channel, and my birthday just passed on by, and there's just too much. There's just too much to happen. And
well, then, as you already know, the Annecy Festival recently happened in where was it? Where did it happen again? Like in France?
About to say like in France or something, and basically it's kind of like an animation festival where stuff like that gets like stuff really cool happens. Especially the main two players that we usually see there are usually Disney and Warner Brothers. Disney had a lot of good announcements, especially with something called Stugo, which I'm very fascinated to see, but as you can probably tell by what we are, that's not what we're here to talk about. Of course, we're here to talk about the Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers stuff, like we did last year.
A lot of new projects were announced from Warner Brothers Animation, the new DC Studios, Cartoon Network Studios, and Hanna-Barbera Studios Europe. And we're obviously going to start with the brand that started it all, Warner Brothers Animation.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. And before we get into like the meat and potatoes of this, there's been a few things happening, especially with the DC stuff. Especially, we're gonna get started with a couple things that got announced recently, or actually a few things that got announced recently. A couple of them being from kind of like the same universe. We're going to be getting the 5th season of Harley Quinn, which will apparently have her and apparently Poison Ivy going away from Gotham City and to find another city to wreak havoc. But this time they're trying to keep their relationship together. And this will be the 5th season coming to Max very soon. But also coming to Max very soon, we also have a brand new series from the world of Harley Quinn called Kite Man. Heck yeah, I'll just have to call it Heck yeah. And that will be available to stream on Max on July the 18th.
So we got 2 new DC animated shows coming out. Oh, and before we continue, many of the projects that are announced were revealed to a private audience, and some of these are either just got the green light, or are in early development, or are in pre-production right now. So we don't really have that many first looks to show you guys, but we'll do the best we can with this one.
Yeah, and there was also a couple other things that got announced from DC, and one of them coming out next month in August, actually, being the highly anticipated Batman Caped Crusader, with the first 10 episodes of that coming August 1st to Amazon Prime Video. And apparently, we're also going to be getting some kind of like a 2-part CG animated Watchmen movie, with the first part coming out later this year, and the second part coming in 2025, but apparently it's planning to be some kind of a leap forward into this animation. But here is where the real meat and potatoes of the DC stuff comes into play. We have a brand new series coming to us from the brilliant minds at the brand new DC Universe at DC Studios, James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's a brand new series called Creature Commandos, and it will be available to stream on Max in December. But James Gunn has specifically said that they're going to move into animation and out of animation. Basically what this means is that they're going to have the same people who play them in the animated shows. They're going to have them play the Creature Commandos in the live-action movies. It's being reported that they could be making their debut starting with the new Superman movie coming to theaters and IMAX sometime in July of 2025.
So as you can see, the DC comics are definitely expanding into the world of animation, television shows, feature films, and side projects.
But of course, that's not the only thing that we have. Let's just get this very bad one out of the way, because, good lord, how does this piece of garbage have 400 episodes? Like, does anybody even want to see a 400th episode of Teen Titans Go? Certainly not me, but we're getting one apparently with the style of stop-motion animation where Superman apparently banishes them for some reason, because apparently they don't have a good budget.
Yeah, basically, even though the episode is not aired yet, you're basically giving it a...
Yeah, actually, 4 thumbs down for that.
I will say that even though I'm not really much of a Teen Titans Go fan, I will check out this episode to see how the stop-motion animation will work.
I'm not. But...
Yeah, you do that.
But there's a couple things from WBA that are coming to theaters, actually, and we talked about the Lord of the Rings movie last year, but we finally, apparently, as of right now, the new Lord of the Rings movie is going to be coming to theaters on December the 13th, as of right now. But there's also The Day the Earth Blew Up, which was... Yeah, they went back to The Day the Earth Blew Up for some reason, even though they called it Bubble Brains for a while. And that's coming to theaters in October, but apparently something got shadow dropped onto Max a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so apparently with all these new Looney Tune projects coming out, with like the aforementioned Day the Earth Blew Up feature film starring Porky Pig and Daffy Duck and Petunia Pig, that'll be coming to theaters for a limited run in the U.S. while being rolled out around the world, like in places like Brazil and Russia and Germany and places like that. But the award-nominated and award-winning animated short, Daffy in Wacky Land, recently just got added to Max after many months of being hidden from the public.
Yeah, it just got, like, shadow dropped completely and just utterly out of nowhere. Like, it's just, like, we didn't get any word about it or anything. They just dropped it on there just like that. But speaking of Max, there is something that I was excited about, but I'm not very excited about it anymore, because we're going to be getting a 2-part crossover episode of Jellystone, which has over 60 cameos from Cartoon Network shows, and you're like, okay, cool! Here's the problem.
They're only going to be using characters all the way up to 2008. Okay, even though they're not going to add any characters from the 2010s and the 2020s, they're still going to add characters from like the 1990s and the 2000s, which is still kind of good because pretty much the entire cast of Jellystone characters are made up from classic Hanna-Barbera characters, so they were going with a classic character feel for the special. I mean, we already got like a few good confirmed characters so far, like Grim, Billy and Mandy, Ed from Ed, and Eddie, Blue and Frankie Foster, the Kids Next Door, the Powerpuff Girls and Mojo Jojo, Laszlo from Camp Laszlo, Samurai Jack, IR Bamboon, Ben 10, the OG, Johnny Bravo, which is a huge shocker, and even Adam from the hit series My Gym Partner's a Monkey. Now, we don't know that much about the special just yet because only a few small details have been scattered across the internet, but we will find out more when Jellystone has a San Diego Comic-Con panel later on in the summer.
Before we started to record, I got a little sickened because Maxwell Adams, the creator of Billy and Mandy, said one of the most absolutely egregious things I've ever heard somebody said. This person said, "We also had to cut ourselves off around 2008, which is when Cartoon Network officially died."
Yeah, something tells me that he should have chosen a better choice of words.
But apparently, much to my disappointment, we're going to be getting another Scooby-Doo series, which is great. Okay, this is a 50-50. Scooby-Doo series, great. It could work. Anime Scooby-Doo series, no. And that's exactly what's happening with Go Go Mystery Machine, where apparently Shaggy and Scooby, and I think it's just Shaggy and Scooby, apparently they're going to go to Japan this time, where apparently they're met by Daisuke Do, which is Scooby's uncle, and apparently it's Itsuko, his owner, and Toshiro, the inventor? So I have no idea what's going on, but yeah, in anime, count me out on this one.
Yeah, it's just, we don't mean to be disrespectful to all you anime lovers, but we're not really that big on the whole anime art style, mainly because of some questionable animes we've seen over the years.
Yeah, but there was also something called.
I don't mind that this series is not going to be like another incarnation of Velma, which is pretty much like everyone's internet punching bag right now.
The plan for next year, we're also going to be getting something called Batman Azteca, which apparently is supposed to be some kind of like a What If sort of thing. If you guys know that little Marvel series on Disney Plus called What If, it's sort of stuff like that, where apparently Batman's legend was apparently Mesoamerican mythology, which should be very interesting.
I mean, we're not going to judge anything before we actually watch it. I mean, we're going to check some of these shows out when they come out, and we'll give our reviews in the future on whether we like them or hate them, because, as you all know, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, or in this case, you shouldn't judge an animated TV show based on its premise, or its art style, or its direction.
but I definitely judge them by what platform they're going to. But a couple of things that
as long as it's not Netflix or Paramount Plus.
A couple of things that we don't know too much about yet, or a couple of other things where there's something called Bad Karma, which is apparently going to be some kind of a new movie coming from WBA. And it's apparently some...
WBPA, short for Warner Brothers Pictures Animation.
Yeah, so it seems to be WBA, but apparently it's about some kind of friendship between a demon girl and a legendary warrior set in the mythological world of magic, and all inspired by Indian mythology. Should be very interesting. But apparently we can't talk about this last one for too long, called Lovey Dovey, because let's just say it's about a lot of birds wanting to get crazy. Let's just say that. Let's just say get crazy, okay?
It's basically another TV-14 or TVMA series coming from Warner Brothers Animation, either coming to primetime or on streaming. Probably streaming.
Here's where things get interesting, though. CNS did not focus on the new. They focused on the old. Because we have two beloved worlds that are going to expand.
Yeah. And they are really big hit shows back in the 2010s. First up being J.G. Quintel's outrageous comedy series, Regular Show.
He's currently making some kind of a new series, but everything is currently under wraps right now, so we don't know too much about it. But we could be seeing a lot of new characters, but we did get the recent confirmation that characters from the Beloved series will be appearing in this as well. But here is where things...
Not so sure about Pops, because, you know, he died in the finale.
But here's where things get a little crazy. We all know about Adventure Time, Fiona, and Cake. And we were all so happy, myself included, when it got renewed for a second season, which is currently planned for a release in 25 on Max.
Yep, we have 10 all-new episodes, continuing where Season 1 left off.
But we don't have one. Not even two. But three. 3 new installments of Adventure Time. A couple of them shock me the most, but let's just go ahead and get the biggest one out of the way. In development limbo for quite possibly over a decade now. You guys have been wanting this, and they're finally doing it.
Yep. Cartoon Network Studios is making an Adventure Time feature-length movie.
We don't know too much about it right now, other than about it being somebody's birthday party and...
Princess Bubblegum's birthday party.
Thankfully not Lumpy Space Princess' birthday party, because that would have immediately thrown me off out of the bus already right off the bat, but hopefully they can do very well with this one.
I mean, after nearly 200 episodes and 10 seasons and a huge fan base, they definitely deserve a feature-length movie.
But here's where things get interesting. Teens and adults love Adventure Time, both the original and Fiona and Cake, and now they're about to love the movie. What do you think happens next? Let's see. I don't know. How about something for kids and families and preschoolers?
Yep. So first up, for kids and families, we have a new spin-off series, or more so of a prequel series, called Adventure Time Side Quests. And it's going to be featuring a slightly younger Finn and Jake. It's sort of going back to the early roots of the first couple seasons of the show. Back when Adventure Time was in their infancy.
Yeah, something like that. But, yeah, you heard me correctly. An Adventure Time show for preschoolers is actually happening.
Yep.
It's called...
And who do you think is going to star in this new show? I actually don't know how to segue into this next announcement, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut to the chase. Bemo is getting his very own show.
The name says it all. Adventure Time.
Heyo Beo.
And much to my complete and utter shock, it is apparently going to be completely designed with claymation in mind. And holy gojoli, Bemo looks so flipping cute!
Yep. And actually, this is not really done in claymation, more of a computer graphic claymation. Because there's apparently this amazing artist on the internet named Crispy something.
The Crispy Boat. And apparently Crispy Boat is the person who's working on this series for CNS. So I more so see this as some kind of a collaboration.
I mean, this guy's an incredible... he's really good at making CGI claymation.
So the fact that we're going to be getting something like this should be very interesting. But a lot of people are not taking the BMO series too well because of the demise of Jessica's Big Little World recently.
Yeah, it is true that Jessica's Big Little World did get canceled and only had 20 episodes, which is still a good number. I'm not like... I mean...
But, yeah, there is one more studio that we need to talk about, and it starts with a brand new series apparently being based on a book called, it's about a little girl called Something Throws a Wobbler, and I say something because that leads into the title of this new show called Barbara, which is coming to us from the brilliant minds of Hanna-Barbera Studios Europe.
Yep. It actually used to be called Cartoon Network Studios Europe, but they instead had to rename it after the brilliant geniuses of Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera.
They apparently, because I think they rebranded back in 2021. But for all the people that want to know about Gumball, don't worry. Just hold your horses. We have a good bit to talk about because season 7 is still in full swing right now. But
yeah, and more people are getting hired to work on the long-awaited 7th season of Gumball.
But
actually, we'll talk about Gumball in a second. But right now, we have another show we want to talk about. It's actually coming to us from Craig McCracken.
I wanted to save that one for last, but all right, whatever. because
I'm a little excited about this next one.
because Craig McCracken has been hard at work on making 2 projects right now. One of them being some kind of revival to the Powerpuff Girls, but we still have nothing, zip, squat about that. Because apparently we have something...
Early development. I don't know if it's going to be a series or a special or something. We'll just have to find out in the future, but thank goodness it's not going to be that failed CW live-action Powerpuff Girls series.
But here's the thing. Now we have Foster's Fun Time for Imaginary Friends, which is, as you can tell by the title, it's another preschool series for... I'm just going to say it's going to be for Cartoon Network because if you count this will be preschool series number 3. Being developed in-house, because I really shouldn't call Barbara being developed in-house because it's more so developed by a book or something like that, so it really doesn't count as something being based on a Cartoon Network property. So this is basically Cartoon Network preschool series number 3, and it seems to be some kind of a mixture of animation of all kinds, because if you look at this poster, there's a whole bunch of things going on here, and it has a whole lot of new characters being added. But as you can see in the poster, somebody familiar is coming along for the ride.
Yep. Because so far, Madame Foster and Blue from the original Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends series are going to be returning for this new preschool spin-off.
And then, now let's go back to Gumball, because I didn't want to save this one for last, but whatever. So as we talked about, Season 7's still in full swing of production, but don't expect it for a while because it's being planned for sometime in 25 or 26. But for all those people on Twitter that have not stopped rambling about it, the Gumball movie is still alive.
Yep. It turns out that the highly awaited Amazing World of Gumball movie is getting a bit of a rewrite. So don't worry, the Gumball movie isn't canceled. You're going to find out all your answers about Rob and the Void and all that stuff. But since Gumball has a mixture of different animation styles and with CG, claymation, and 2D characters and all that, it's going to be a bit of a while until you see Gumball, Darwin, Richard, Anais, Nicole, and all the Elmore citizens come back to your TV screens in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you can pretty much see, Warner Brothers and Cartoon Network and Hanna-Barbera Studios Europe have a lot of great projects coming out. I mean, we got a Looney Tunes feature film, 3 new projects from Adventure Time, the return of Regular Show, and the return of Gumball, and new projects from DC, the 2-part Jellystone special. I mean, Warner Brothers is pretty much cooking up a big cartoon stew all the great ingredients that make a great animation lineup in the next couple years.
Yeah. And after reporting all about all that, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah. Oh, you were not kidding, were you?